The sound of a vacuum cleaner echoed faintly in the gleaming corridors of Haverstone Enterprises, a towering glass building that touched the clouds. It was 6:30 in the morning, the world outside still painted in soft shades of dawn. Inside, under the golden glow of the fluorescent lights, a man in a gray janitor's uniform was mopping the marble floor outside the executive boardroom. His name was Eli Ramirez, a 38-year-old single father, a man whose quiet dignity hid the scars of a life that hadn't been kind to him. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing calloused arms and the faded tattoo of a name, Sophia, his late wife. Eli wasn't supposed to be inside the boardroom that morning, but when one of the cleaning staff called in sick, he'd been assigned to clean it before the CEO arrived for a crucial international meeting. As he pushed the mop across the polished floor, his eyes caught the panoramic view of the city skyline. He paused for a moment, his reflection faintly visible on the glass, a reminder of who he used to be, once a linguistics graduate with dreams of teaching. But dreams don't pay bills, and when Sophia passed away 3 years ago, leaving him alone with their daughter Maya, those dreams had been replaced by survival. Just as Eli wiped the last streak off the conference table, the doors swung open. Several people filed in, dressed in sharp suits, their chatter crisp and confident. He stepped aside quietly, ready to leave. But one of them, a tall man with silver hair and presence that commanded the room, raised a hand. It was Mr. Haverstone, the CEO himself, known for his ruthless intelligence and no-nonsense approach. "You can stay," he said curtly. "We're starting early, and we'll need the room spotless after the meeting too." Eli nodded, silently returning to his corner, pretending not to listen. The meeting began. Across the table sat a delegation from Japan, their leader, Mr. Tanaka, accompanied by an elegant translator who began interpreting their proposal in English. The conversation flowed smoothly, at least on the surface. But Eli's ears perked up. His mind, despite the exhaustion of years of janitorial shifts, was still sharp. He had spent years studying languages, English, Spanish, Japanese, even a little Mandarin, and what he was hearing didn't sit right. The translator's English words twisted the meaning of Mr. Tanaka's Japanese sentences. Instead of partnership and mutual respect, the translator spoke of contractual submission and ownership. Eli frowned. His hands gripped the mop tighter. Each mistranslated sentence felt heavier. The Japanese team's polite smiles were masking growing discomfort, and even Mr. Haverstone's sharp eyes began to narrow. Eli took a deep breath. He shouldn't interfere. He was a janitor, invisible, replaceable. But something deep inside him, perhaps the teacher he once wanted to be, or the father who wanted his daughter to see courage, refused to stay silent. He raised his voice softly but clearly. "Excuse me, sir," he said, startling everyone in the room. All eyes turned toward him. The translator blinked in disbelief. "What did you just say?" Mr. Haverstone asked, his tone dangerously low. Eli swallowed. "I'm sorry, sir. I mean no disrespect. But what Mr. Tanaka said just now, it wasn't about ownership. He said he hopes for a partnership built on equality and trust." The translation, it was wrong. The room froze. Even Mr. Tanaka looked surprised, and then intrigued. He spoke a few words in Japanese, his tone polite but probing. Without hesitation, Eli replied fluently, his accent clean, his words precise. Gasps rippled across the room. The translator's face turned pale. Mr. Haverstone leaned forward, his steely eyes fixed on Eli. "You speak Japanese?" "Yes, sir," Eli said quietly. "And Spanish and a bit of Mandarin. I studied languages before life got in the way." For a few moments silence reigned. Then Mr. Haverstone gestured sharply. "Continue." Eli stepped closer, his janitor's uniform contrasting sharply against the sleek suits around him. He began interpreting Mr. Tanaka's words. Carefully, respectfully, word for word. The atmosphere changed instantly. The tension dissolved, replaced by genuine understanding. Mr. Tanaka's smile returned, warm and approving. By the end of the meeting, both sides shook hands, not out of forced courtesy but mutual respect. Eli stepped back, heart pounding. He expected to be dismissed, maybe even scolded for speaking out. Instead, Mr. Haverstone walked toward him. "What's your name?" he asked. "Eli Ramirez." The CEO studied him for a long moment, then he nodded slowly. "You just saved a multi-million-dollar partnership, Mr. Ramirez." Eli blinked. Unsure how to respond, he just nodded and returned to his mop. But as he cleaned the floor, his hands trembled. Not from fear, but from a strange, forgotten feeling. Hope, too. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing what's right even when no one's watching, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps more stories like this reach hearts around the world. That evening, Eli returned home to their small apartment. His daughter Maya, 9 years old with bright brown eyes and a missing front tooth, ran to him the moment he opened the door.
"Papa, you're late!"
She laughed, hugging his leg. "Did you have a hard day?" He smiled tiredly. "A little, but something good happened today." She gasped dramatically. "Did you get a promotion?" He chuckled. "Not quite." He knelt to her level. "But I spoke Japanese in a boardroom today." Her eyes widened. "You talk Japanese? Like the movies?" "Like the movies," he nodded, smiling faintly. "And maybe someone noticed." For the next few days, Eli heard nothing. The routine continued, cleaning floors, emptying trash bins, wiping glass. But every now and then, he caught glimpses of Mr. Haverstone passing by, his expression unreadable. Then, one afternoon, as Eli was polishing the elevator mirrors, the CEO's assistant approached. "Mr. Ramirez, the CEO wants to see you in his office." Eli's heart dropped. He followed her to the top floor, where the air smelled of leather and success. When he stepped into the office, Mr. Haverstone was seated behind a massive mahogany desk, looking out the window. "Sit," he said simply. Eli obeyed. "I did some checking," the CEO began. "You have a degree in linguistics from San Diego State Honors. You taught for a short while, then..." He paused, glancing at the file. "Your wife passed away. You left everything to take care of your daughter. You've been working here as a janitor for 3 years." Eli said nothing. His throat felt dry. Mr. Haverstone leaned back. "You know, I built this company from nothing. I believe in people who work hard, but also in people who don't give up, even when life beats them down." He paused. "I want to offer you a position. Interpreter trainee. It won't pay a fortune at first, but it'll be enough to get you out of the basement." Eli stared at him, unsure if he'd heard correctly. "Sir, I don't know what to say." Say yes," the CEO said simply. Eli did. 2 weeks turned into months. Eli's uniform changed from gray to crisp white shirts and slacks. He learned under professional translators, attended meetings, and slowly began to rediscover the man he once was. Maya noticed too. She'd sit at their small kitchen table doing homework while he practiced notes in Japanese. Sometimes she'd draw pictures of him, talking fancy, in boardrooms and stick them on the fridge. But success didn't come without tests. There were coworkers who doubted him, some who whispered that he didn't belong. One particularly smug executive mocked him during a meeting, calling him the janitor who speaks too much. The words stung, but Eli never retaliated. He'd been through worse. He remembered Sophia's last words in the hospital. "Promise me you'll show Maya what strength looks like, even when you're scared." He kept that promise. 1 year later, a major Japanese investor visited Haverstone Enterprises for a global partnership. This time, Eli was the lead interpreter. As he stood in front of the same glass walls where he once mopped floors, the memory of that morning came rushing back. The mop in his hand, the looks of disbelief, the trembling voice. But now, his voice was steady, his presence confident. When he finished interpreting, the Japanese delegation applauded his clarity and professionalism. Mr. Tanaka, now a trusted partner, shook his hand warmly. After the meeting, Mr. Haverstone called him aside once again. "You did well, Ramirez," he said. Then, after a pause, "You've come a long way." Eli smiled. "So has the company, sir." The CEO chuckled. "True, but I'd like to think you helped with that." That evening, Eli walked home under the golden glow of the sunset. Maya was waiting by the window, waving eagerly. In his hands, he carried 2 things, a small bouquet of flowers and an envelope. Inside was a letter, promotion to senior interpreter, effective immediately. His eyes filled with tears. He sat beside Maya and showed her the letter. She squealed in delight. "Does this mean we can get a bigger apartment?" He laughed. "Maybe. But more importantly, it means we did it." She tilted her head.
"Yes,"
he whispered, holding her close. "You and me, kid. Always." Outside, the city lights shimmered like stars inside. A father and daughter sat together in the quiet warmth of their small home. Proof that kindness, courage, and second chances could change even the most ordinary life.